Right, and we should now be live. Good evening, everybody. Oh, do excuse me, I've literally just bolted down dinner just to make sure I wasn't too late. How are we all doing this evening? I know that Jackson Zilla is in the chat, so is Jesse. Hello. Cian. Hello. Right. Yes, let's get straight to it. So starting at 8 instead of 9 o'clock British time, just to give myself some extra time to look over all of this DLC and the free update. Hello Something and Miss Archaeopteryx. And I thought I would start with the most important bit, which is the dinosaurs. Now, I've already done some testing. It looks like this update hasn't negatively affected mods, which is good for us mod users. The only one I have found that is broken is unfortunately Glitch's FGM mod, but not all of them. The only one that's broken is Diplodocus. So whatever the update did today, they've changed something about Diplodocus, but I don't know what. So I haven't looked at anything to do with the update or the DLC since it came out. I am going into this completely blind, apart from checking that the mods and stuff still work. So let's start with looking at the Concavinator. Let's look at Concavinator first. We'll have a look at them in Species Viewer, and then we'll have a look at them in a map. So that's the base Concavinator skin. Let's get rid of the UI. That is the base Concavinator. Yeah, I quite like these are very defined humps, aren't they? On the back. They're definitely humps rather than sort of fins or sails. I have to say, I'm not a fan of the quills. Look how chunky they are on the arms. They don't look like quills. To me, they look like, I don't know, like pieces of concrete rebar sticking out of his arms. I think the quills could have been done a little nicer. But apart from that, I think it's a decent model. Let's have a look at patterns and skins. Let's try and pick a reasonably simple skin color. Looks like we've got some good ranges of skin colors here. Let's just go with the white one because it's easier to see the pattern. So Rana is this orange and black, which is all right. Kalkarana with this sort of burned brown black stripe. Yellow on the face, which is not too bad. Am I the only one who thinks it has an overbite? It looks more like it has an underbite, if I'm honest. Something. Don't know, difficult to tell. Svalbard is the green. Not a very nice green, I have to say. Looks a bit manky, if I'm honest. Yeah, not fond of that colour. Pulkrana is black and blue, which looks quite nice. I like the blue. I wish there was a little bit more of it, to be honest, on the skin. Yeah, it doesn't show up too well. But yeah. Papyrana is the blue and yellow. I believe this was one of the skins that was being used in the screenshot they showed us. Yeah, nice coloration. Looks reasonably good on every pattern, which is good. And your Pelophylax, which is the one we saw definitely in the screenshot with the orange and the blue face and the black and blue stripes on the hump. So yeah, nothing I wouldn't say that the skins are overwhelmingly amazing. I think the lithobates is pretty weak. And the Pulcrana and Pelophylax pattern are quite close together. But of course, it does mean that you could use Pelophylax and Pulcrana to be male and female variants of the skin, so that's fairly reasonable. And yeah, without the pattern, you know, the default sort of coloration where you have a lightly coloured underbody and you've got a little bit of marbling into the main body colour, it looks all right, you know. Just in terms of the body design and the skins alone, I still prefer LA Studios' modded version of this. But obviously, for those who can't use mods, I think they've done a decent job. Let's move on to the Utahraptor, since that was next. Wow. Yeah, I mean, it looks... God, I wish the bloody game would stop stuttering. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Let's get rid of the pattern, and let's just have a look at its skin. I mean, the Death Valley skin is overwhelmingly, so far, really nice. Chaplin Valley is quite distinctive as well. So there's Limpopo River, look at that. Also, I've noticed, I don't know if this is a new thing, I don't think it was like this with the Pyroraptor, but the feathers on the Utahraptor, they are very iridescent. Can you see that? How, like, they're blue there, but if I change the camera, you get that iridescent sheen. Now, I haven't noticed that with the feathered species that we've had in the game already. And if they have had it, then it's probably a sign that it wasn't very clear, if I haven't noticed it. But the iridescent sheen on the feathers is a really nice touch. And I have to say, comparing the feathers on this model to Pyroraptor's feathers, you can see that they've definitely learned some... you know, they've taken what they learned from the Pyroraptor and obviously definitely applied it here. This is a far better feathered Utah. So yeah, really nice looking. Pretty. Oh wow, look at that, with the sort of fiery. Very nice. Golden yellow and a sort of purple. Now let's have a look at feather colors. Now it's going to be quite difficult for us to be picking skins for the Utah because the actual pattern color and skin color alter the color of the pattern itself. So I mean, you're going to have to go through these skins kind of one by one to pick out the best ones without relying on a particular combination. Wow, that's quite interesting. And I am glad that the choice of pattern adds stripes and head markings, so I'm glad that you know, they've done a fairly decent job. It's definitely going to take me a while to find some really, like, what are my number one best skins for this guy. Ooh, I like the green. Does that stay green on everything else? No, it doesn't. You see, it doesn't stay... You get a subtly different type of green on the black skin. Although I like the green in the head feathers. And that's quite cool. And you got this like ice blue Oh, and it gives it a nose color as well. I didn't notice that before. Yeah, like it's nice to see that they've definitely done a good job. Wow, that's bright. Okay, Pelophylax might have to be a favorite. Just for that really dazzling blue. Yeah, look at that. I'm not sure on the pink stripes on the body, but the blue on the feathers definitely looks very cool. On the tail as well. Yeah. So obviously the Utahraptor is probably, I think, for everybody going to replace the Pyroraptor in their parks. I think that's warranted based on the fact that it is a better example of a feathered raptor than Pyroraptor is. I stand by... Well, actually, no. I'll wait until I see the animations it has first before I make a judgment, actually. Because it's a bit unfair to judge just on skins alone. What was next in the video? Tarbosaurus, wasn't it? Let's go up and have a look at the Tubby T-Rex. There is our Tubby T-Rex. I'm going to move the lighting over somewhat just to illuminate him a bit better. There we go. Excellent. Yeah. Not sure on the pattern. What is this? Okay, so if I remove the pattern... Okay, so the pattern is the entirety of this marbling. I have to say, I think the pattern is a bit... low effort? So there's the Camp Cretaceous Tarbo. And I would have thought they would have just gone with the pattern being the stripes. But instead they've given us this sort of I suppose it's supposed to be like a camouflage pattern. Let's get rid of it for the moment and just have a look at the other color combinations that we have. Nothing really dramatic amongst them. I mean, that right there, that is the default dinosaur color, really, isn't it? The green. It's sort of got a crocodile sort of back to it. A bit more pronounced crests than the T-Rex. I think the posture is wrong. Can I see it walking? Oh, I really hate that posture they have for them running. It looks so unnatural. Yeah, I think the posture is a bit off, somehow. Oh, and it has exactly the same laying down thing as... Oh, okay, it's slightly different to the others. Minorly different to the others, because pretty much every carnivore does this head scratching on the ground thing, but I see Tarbo thinks that it's a cat. Okay then. Yeah, but let's have a look at these patterns. So Rana is basically black. Kalkarana is sort of a rusty terracotta, sort of rocky road sort of affair. Lithobates is basically the same as Calcarana, just less saturated. Pulcrana is your speckled white, which I don't actually really think goes with many of the colors, actually. Papurana is this wonderful blue. I like the color of the. I like the blue. I like that. If I was doing an Arctic park, this would be the color of my Arctic Park Tarbo for sure. Really like that blue. And the Pelophylax, probably the best, I would say. The black and red. Just looks really distinct compared to a T-Rex, say. I mean, I think I stand by in my belief that I think it's quite a lazy skin, just like throw a bunch of spots at it. But yeah, I think it's okay. Gigantoraptor next. Let's go and have a look at Gigantoraptor. Where are we? There he is. Oh. He really is just like a big turkey, isn't it? Let's have a look at it. Again, the run animation is awful. I mean, it's just so unrealistic the way that they have that positioned. And the resting animation is basically an ostrich. Which makes sense, I suppose. It's fine. Hello, Jurassic Tyrant King. It's a tubby puppy. Indeed it is. Right, let's get rid of the pattern. Okay, so it looks like the pattern just does change the color of the feathers. These are all pretty similar, I think, to the Therizinosaurus. If I'm... Wow. Blimey. Okay, that's pretty nice. That's really cool, actually. In fact, this reminds me of there's a really prolific paleo artist that used to do basically all the paleo art in the 80s and the 90s. And I distinctly remember his Archaeopteryx painting because it basically has this sort of blue and yellow coloration. Reminds me of that quite a bit. But that's a really nice coloration. I like it. So let's have a look at what the pattern actually does. So okay, interesting. So the Rana pattern actually spoils that entirely. What does it even do? It's just basically adds some lines to the feathers. Let's try a different... Let's get rid of the Rana. Yeah, okay, so Rana just kind of... Okay, alters the color of the head feathers and then ruins the feathers on the rest of the body. Okay, I'm not a big fan of that. It might be Charles R. Knight. Could be. Okay, Calcarana gives spots on the body and... Okay, completely changes the color of the feathers. So again, it looks like Gigantoraptor, you're going to have to go... You know, you're going to have to go through these skins like one by one, each color, each pattern, and figure out which ones are the ones that you like the best. Lithobates, Lithobates ruins that one entirely. In fact, I would say lithobates make... Yeah, no. Don't bother with lithobates. Ignore it. Okay, Pulcrana actually makes this one stand out more because of the yellow on the feathers. Basically, Pulcrana adds a yellow sheen to the feathers, essentially. Okay. Papyrana adds basically a blue-purple to them. Okay, makes sense. And Pedophylax, sort of a green and a red. I mean, it definitely works there. Wow. Look at that. He looks like a punk rocker with that red hair. Mohawkosaurus. That's what I'm going to call it from now on, is a Mohawkosaurus. But yeah, so you're going to have to go through Gigantoraptor skins like the Utahraptors and definitely check how the skin color and the pattern color interacts, because for a lot of them, it's not just the same color on every single skin color. The pattern color is going to change elements almost at random. And I can also see how modders are definitely going to take this. And, you know, if, say, you want a terror bird, you know, shrink/remove the tail, shrink/remove the arms, and you already basically have a terror bird. And then you can just alter the shape of the head a bit. So I can see Gigantoraptor becoming various modded species of terror bird quite quickly. Now, we have some others to look at in the form of variants. So, let's start with Allosaurus. So, I'm going to get rid of the pattern again, just so we can have a look at the colors. So this was the default. Yukon River is the default 2022 Allo. Let's have a look at it in others. Ooh, I quite like it in the tan. It's quite nice. A Gigantocassary. Gigantocassary, yes. With Jurassic Tyrant King. Hello, Jackline. Let's keep going through. That's an interesting color combination. It's got like a very definite red back, but it's a different red to... That's a very peculiar combination. I am reading the messages, don't worry. Green for Limpopo River. Killian Mountains. It's a nice sort of blue. The standard grey and white. Very vivid pink if you want Amazon rainforest. I am reading them, don't worry. But you haven't actually asked anything, Kian. And if you want me to name the first turbo I use in a stream must be named Big Chunkus, well, I don't know when I'll be using it. I mean, that's probably what I'm going to do, Jurassic Tyrant. I'm probably going to use the 2022 variant to be Saurophaganax or something. Let's have a look at the pattern. So the pattern seems to be just, again, like the Turbo, just splatted camo. I have to say the Rana pattern doesn't do much for me. Calcarana... I mean, Calcarana looks okay on the white. kind of limited on the rest. Lithobates, so this is the green. Again, like... I feel like they could have been a bit more focused with the skin and actually tried to do a little bit more than just splatter spots over it. I mean, Svalbard and Pulkrana works okay. Pat Piranha is a bit more decorative, but again, it just doesn't really work that well. It works okay on the Death Valley. And Pelophylax. Yeah, Pelophylax is probably the one that works the best on the most. Yeah, so... Has Allosaurus 2022 been saved by the variants? Possibly. I think if you just use it without the patterns, or if you use the subtle pattern on Rana where it's not too over the top, if you keep to the subtle Rana pattern and then or don't use any pattern and just stick to the colors, I think it has improved it. I think the patterns are disappointing in as much as they haven't really thought about them very much. Let's go and have a look at Brachiosaurus. My boy Brachy. So this is the chunky 2001 Jurassic Park 3 model. I feel like Frontier stopped caring about making the patterns and skins match all too well. Yeah, I would agree, Miss Archaeopteryx, and I think that's a bit of a problem. So, I actually really like Jurassic Park 3's Brachy. I know that a lot of people prefer the classic, sort of thin neck, not overly baggy body and tail. But there's something about the JP3 model which just has... I like the bigger body and the more mass to sort of the tail. It's not quite as thin. I just think it looks a bit better proportioned to me. And like, obviously it also had what I think is a really nice skin. But having a look at these basic colors, they fairly nice. Ooh, this is like a purple. It's quite nice. This one is actually quite decorative on its own without any pattern. I like the contrast there between the blue and the brown. But apart from that, basic general colors, I think. So the pattern basically adds marbling and camouflaging. Is the pattern basically... Yeah, more or less. So the pattern is more or less the Jurassic Park 3 striping. I have to say, that looks pretty good. That looks so much better than the actual original Brachiosaurus. You know, it actually has color to it and pattern to it. So Rana is basically sort of what color would you call that? Like a burnt orange. Calcarana is a bit more of a beige color. Lithobates, not really very distinct. Lithobates I would ignore. Pulkrana looks to be your sort of default black, which is kind of subtle. Papyrana is this sort of green and yellow, which is Kind of nice. Quite like it on there. That's quite cool. And Pelophylax is your sort of a bluish purple, which again looks really nice actually. Not on every single skin color, but definitely looks pretty good there, I have to say. I think Frontier learned from their mistake with the 2018 Brachiosaurus and decided to make the 2001 version the prettiest sauropod in the game. I mean, it's definitely better than... I mean, obviously, this Brachiosaurus has been enhanced by Glitch's FGM mod. However, if you disregard the color here, and just look at how they do where the pattern color actually works on the animal, where you've got these like jagged splotches on the legs and a jagged splotch here and a jagged splotch here and like an attempt to do a stripe down the neck. It's... You'd never see an animal in the wild ever design their camouflage like this. But this sort of striping, you know, stripes, pretty loads of animals do stripes. So it's a bit more realistic. And the colours are definitely better than the basic sauropod colours, apart from perhaps lithobates. But what this does, of course, is it means that we could also, you know, for people who aren't using mods, they could put Brachiosaurus 2001 in their parks and the normal Brachiosaurus and say, well, the normal Brachiosaurus is Brachiosaurus and Brachiosaurus 2001 is Jurassic Titan. And because the skins and the colours are going to vary so much, it just adds to the imagination required for that sort of, you know, using Brachiosaurus to be Jurassic Titan. What people seem to forget is the 2001 version of Brachiosaurus is very close to what the real Brachiosaurus probably looks like anyway. Yeah, I think it's a bit more accurate than the sort of quite thin 1993 Brachie, for example. I'm not going to look at the Dimorphodon, because if I'm honest, I don't think we really care. I don't think people were clamoring to have Dimorphodon as a variant. So let's skip Dimorphodon and go to... what's next in alphabetical order? Pteranodon? I want to say Pteranodon. There we are. There's the horrible old one. There's the one that we're... Ooh, wow. Look at that. Let's actually make it fly. Can we slow down this animation, please? There we go. That's a bit better. Wow. Immediately, I love that coloration. I still think it would be nicer for it to have a proper crest, you know, one that comes out a bit more, but this is a lot better model than the Pteranodon that we have in-game. Although, I have to say, it infuriates me that they have got the jaws wrong. Because I have a distinct memory that Jurassic World Evolution 1, I believe the Pteranodon came with teeth there. And I believe in an update they removed the teeth to make it realistic to the fossil record and also the depiction of the animal in the film. And it bloody annoys me that yet again they've given teeth to the Pteranodon. They don't have teeth. Pteranodons did not have teeth. But apart from that, it's much nicer than the Jurassic World version. Right, let's get rid of the patterns for the moment. Just have a look at the color combinations. They all look pretty standard to what most of the other pterosaurs are using. Oh, you would. Why did it do that? Let's not do that again. Right, so let's have a look at the patterns then. So it's sort of splotchy wing patterns with... Let's find one there where Rana actually shows up quite well. Probably there. So, is it wingtips? Oh, and you also get the crest as well. It's quite nice. So Rana is your orange. Calcarana... Not much... Oh, okay, so Calcarana you get black wingtips. But the crest just becomes a little bit brighter. So you could kind of use Calcarana and Rana to be like male and female. Lithobates is your green and yellow. Pulcrana is your white. Papurana is, wow, very nice. Love the green wingtips, love the cyan blue and orange crest. That looks really cool. And Pelophylax is this wonderful, almost ultraviolet blue purple, which I have to say on the black looks absolutely stunning. Oh, and you get spots as well on the back of the wings. I assume you get nothing underneath. No. Yeah, I think the variants for the Pteranodon have definitely saved the Pteranodon. Because I usually don't use Pteranodon because of its poor model and skins. I think the variants definitely saves it. Considering how weak source it is, it's really sad this is a massive improvement over the Jurassic World Pteranodon. Shout out to Geostembergia, I guess. Yeah. I mean, like I say, I think this might actually save Pteranodon for me, but I think in the grand scheme of things, if you put this with, like, you know, Geostembergia and Sungaripterus and Quetzalcoatl, you know, are people going to pick Pteranodon over Geostembergia anyway? Like, I don't think I've ever actually used Pteranodon in a park, because I just think there are more interesting pterosaurs that we could use. But the variants do definitely help. I'm actually trying to think of what other dinosaurs got their variants. Stegosaurus did. Let's have a look at Stego. Okay. Interesting. Let's get rid of the... Well, actually, okay, so... Patterns are going to add stripes to the body and stripes to the plates. Okay. Let's just have a look at the base colors first. More, you know, nothing over the top. I mean, I have to say the Svalbard one is weird. That... It looks like a toy. Do people know what I mean? Like, if someone gave me a toy of Stegosaurus, I would not be surprised if it looked like that. It's a bit uncanny. So not short on the Svalbard. Amazon rainforest looks quite nice. Mangrove Forest and Gambia. Mangrove Forest is quite nice too. I think I have a toy similar to it. Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure I had a toy that looks similar to it. What's the difference between this and the base Stego? Well, let's have a look. I think the difference is nothing. There is no difference. Just in texture, I think. I mean, that was one of the reasons why I never liked the Stegosaurus anyway, because I always thought that there wasn't very much of a difference between the Lost World model and the model we had anyway. The differences are very subtle. But I suppose it does now mean a different head. Oh yes, okay, so the head is different. That's it. The head and the neck are slightly different, and you've got like a different skin texture between the two, but that's about it. Subtle variation. Okay, so Rana gives you sort of tiger stripes with sort of quite light striping on the plates. Calcarana gives you sort of burnt orange red on the body and very distinct brown stripes on the plates. That looks quite nice. It's like autumn on a Stegosaurus. Lithobates, it's your standard, your black and your grey. Pulcrana if you're boring and want just white stripes, I suppose. Papurana is blue with subtle blue on the plates. Doesn't really go with too many. It kind of works that one. And Pelophylax is you. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe on Killian Mountains it's alright? That's a weird color combination. Yeah. Not sure on Pelophylax, honestly. With its green and or you've got like yeah, kind of like fungal bacterial growth green into orange, and then the plates are a completely different color. We've got blue and red. Yeah, not sure on Pelophylax as a combination there, but the rest are all right. Calcarana is probably my favorite out of the Stegos. I mean, that's really nice there. But I do agree with Jurassic Tyrant King. I think stripes on the Stego remind me of the Walking with Dinosaurs baby killing Stego. I agree. I have to say, I think the Walking with Dinosaurs Stegosaurus is the best depiction of Stegosaurus I've seen, and I haven't seen anyone depict a Stego better. Both in the way that it like moves, the way that it responds to threats, and the color, like where you have those black stripes on the body, and then you have the plates that flush pink and blue. I haven't seen anyone do a Stegosaurus better than Walking with Dinosaurs, which is saying something considering Walking with Dinosaurs is now what, over 20 years old. And am I going to be using Stegosaurus instead of the Werhosaurus? I don't know. I'll be honest, I kind of prefer Glitch's FGM's Stegos, where the patterns on the the plates are so much more vivid that they stand out so much more. I still think that's better than the variants, but it's nice to have an alternative to the base game. So there's some good ones in here. Again, you're gonna have to go looking for them, though, I think. Now, I'm sure I'm missing one. Allosaurus, Brachiosaurus, Dimorphodon, Pteranodon, Stegosaurus. Was that all of them? Was there only 5? Because they haven't done Triceratops, have they? And I think Triceratops is the only other one with variants, apart from T-Rex, but T-Rex... Yes, only 5, says Legion. Excellent! Then we can move on. Again, I'm not going to give my final opinion on the dinosaurs until I see them in the flesh, animated and everything. So, before we get to that, let's do the maps. Because we have new versions of a bunch of maps. So let's go and check them out. I'm going to have to figure out which ones they are, though. Okay, so United Kingdom is one with the challenge mode pre-built layout. So let's have a look at that first. I'm going to go through the maps one by one and find out the ones that have the new versions. Still waiting for the 1993 Triceratops with the blue skin. I don't understand why that isn't a thing yet, to be honest. Okay, so this is something that I was talking about in the stream on Sunday. If you're starting a sandbox build on these new versions of maps, what exactly is this giving you? Because you don't get the free roaming dinosaurs. And this does feel very much like they've just plonked down shit wherever they like. So this version... your hands are freezing. Don't do that. Dane has just stuck his freezing cold hands down the back of my neck.
And then Muttley laughed and walked away.
Go away.
We are in the same room.
Yeah, so again, I don't see the point of this one being included at all. Let's move on, shall we? Yes, what an impressive pre-built map. Okay, that one doesn't have one. Okay, that one doesn't have one. Isla Nublar 93 has its challenge mode layout. We need smaller amenities or smaller vendor stand buildings. Maybe? I mean, I just think it would be nice to have the amenities from the Return to Jurassic Park DLC back in the second game. even if they were just buildings as they were. Okay, so this is a bit... This is challenge mode? This is the challenge mode map? Wow. This is a bit more pre-built than I remember. Oh, the Chaos Theory. I thought it was going to do the Chaos Theory version. I've not actually seen this map, actually. I haven't seen the Chaos Theory version, the challenge mode of this map. So you've basically got... so they've done like what I suggested you do in that video I did last week, where you do like just have a tour section down here and you have like the rest up here. I can see they've also tried to replicate that the jeep transport from the chopper to the visitor center. This is a bit more substantial as a pre-build. I can see that someone who perhaps struggles with starting a park can have a look at this, and there's definitely some clear direction here of how you can make use of this. So this is a bit more of a substantial pre-build, and I think would help people if they struggle with a start. Again, I do fundamentally question the idea of giving people pre-built maps in a game where you're supposed to make your own park. I know that sounds a bit gatekeepery, because it's almost a bit like saying, well, people who play the game using the pre-build are not playing the game properly. But I do fundamentally think that it's, I don't know. With the time and the effort they put into making to put the pre-builds in, I probably would have preferred just a couple of new maps. San Diego pre-build, again, I can see, I can see this would be quite helpful for people. You've got, the amenities established, you've got an idea of where you can put exhibits, etc. What you're doing with the amphitheater. From what I can see on Reddit, most people were just wanting the path layout because they were finding it difficult to get this path layout. So yeah, again, it's a decent start. Next one. We definitely need a cherry blossom map in Japan. I would love a Japanese map or Japanese DLC. There's so much that they could do with it. I'm not sure people who benefit from pre-built maps could even like find them in this sea of menus. So that's another point. I've seen on Reddit loads of people, especially on Xbox, it seems to be an Xbox problem. They can't find the pre-builds. Let's have a look at Allosaurus IB. Again, I haven't done challenge mode. When did those new challenge modes get added? Was it a couple of updates ago? I never bothered with them, because I just have no interest in challenge mode. What? Is that it? Oh, I see. I suppose the idea is that you don't use this for a tour, a complete island tour. Yeah, again, I can see it, you know, some direction here. Um, mm, yeah, okay. I can see them as a challenge thing. You're not allowed to delete the pre-placed buildings and have to make your park around them. Not sure if that's anything for anyone but Evo, though. Yeah. I think Evo might use some of these. Pre-built layout chaos theory. Oh, New Caledonia is really um very prehistoric, isn't it? It's what they use for. What they use for the Triassic period, I think. New Caledonia. Ah, so this is the. Wow. Okay. So this is now this is what I term a pre-build. You know, the whole park is finished. So you could just plonk dinosaurs in here. This is a pre-build map. Um, obviously you'd have to go around repairing it, but apart from that, it's basically ready to go. I can see this one being the most helpful to those who just want to do dinosaur battles or just, you know, play around with stuff. I mean, I would probably. I mean, I'm tempted to do like a use this for like a stream or two and just be like, right, we're gonna repair this, but we're also going to improve upon it. You know, let's take this pre-build and let's actually improve the park completely. What's the point of this many broken down fences? Yeah, I suppose there's sort of a limit as to how much messing around they could do. But what is this cake that we have been provided?
Banana,
It's banana cake.
I believe.
What do you mean you believe?
I don't know. I know one's chocolate. I don't know what the other one
It
is.
doesn't smell like banana.
Just eat it. Shove it in your mouth.
Oh no, it is banana. Subtly banana.
I will take apologies in the form of cake.
Sorry, I was just given cake out of nowhere. Sierra Nevada has a pre-built layout chaos theory. Again, I haven't done the chaos theory for Sierra Nevada, so I have no idea what this looks like. Okay, so again, kind of small, kind of a little bit has been built. Not a great amount, but a smattering has been built. And they've placed individual placeable trees down here. Interesting. There's a lot of individual placed trees here. Yeah, okay. Tiny screen quotes. A kelp, yeah, a kelp brush for the aquariums. I still feel the lagoons are definitely underdeveloped. And it strikes me as strange that Frontier kind of The community has been asking for the lagoon terrain brushes as long as they've been asking for stuff like the Utahraptor, or the Concavenator, or the Camp Cretaceous Tarbo. I suppose it just doesn't make them money. Arizona has a layout, doesn't it? Campaign. So it's the campaign layout. I wonder if that means it's also the campaign like areas, because I know on campaign there's some areas you can't actually go into. What is this planet zoo? Hmm. Man, this brings back memories. Oh yeah, okay, so this actually gives you a change in the map as well, with this sort of depression in the middle. So, I mean, I suppose if you wanted to build a park on Arizona, but you're never sure really what to put in here because the map is basically open and flat. I suppose using this pre-build and sort of getting rid of the structures, but keeping this exhibit and keeping this depression here, you've actually got the makings of an interesting map here. Because I could see a zip line going across here and you using this whole area as just one exhibit quite easily. So I actually quite like this Arizona pre-build, just because it changes the actual map too and not just plonking down the buildings. And it also feels like the exhibit area has actually been made rather than just them plonking down a fence, and that will do. Okay. They were asking for kelp before Can Cretaceous Tarbo was ever a thing. Exactly. And we still don't have it. And this is... I suppose that's one of the reasons why when people defend Frontier and they go, well, they do listen to their community. Well, they don't. They don't listen to their community, because if they listened to their community, we would have the terrain brushes for the lagoons. But we don't, because they won't make any money from it. They're happy to listen to the community when it's something they can monetize. When it's something they cannot monetize, we'll be waiting forever. Currently, the Steam Deck version of this game has a massive glitch where the dinosaurs are completely scrambled. And it hasn't been fixed. And it makes the game unplayable entirely. I can tell you it's going to take them a while to fix it, because they won't be bothered. Prebuilt Layout Challenge Mode for Washington State. I don't even remember what the challenge mode was on this one. I can't wait for Prehistoric Kingdom to start being an actual game. I mean, it's not too far off. Now that there's Steam Workshop support, and now there is more species. I mean, it's getting to the point where I'm thinking of starting in the new year, like starting a series on Prehistoric Kingdom. I think it's getting to that point where it's actually playable pretty good now. Ah, okay. Interesting. So, I don't know if anyone has tried to use the sandbox version of this map, but the sandbox version of this map, you don't have. It looks very different in shape. You basically got a wide flat area at the bottom, and they make this very steep, so you can't use it. So this is an entirely different map. I actually prefer this to the other one. I think it's a bit more of a challenge to use this map. Obviously, this bit up here is kind of pointless, and you just get rid of it. But the fact that you have this, one zone up here, and then you'd have to figure out what to do with the sort of the route down towards the lake. I think this is quite a challenge, quite a challenging map. My word, the stuttering though. Oh. Pennsylvania doesn't have a version. Oregon does. It's again challenge mode. Oregon challenge mode was just aviaries, wasn't it? No, that was campaign. Oh, the Oregon challenge mode was the weird one where they had this lagoon full of ichthyosaurs in the middle of nowhere for no reason whatsoever, and you also had the aviary. Again, for a pre-build, I can see this one working quite nicely. You've got everything you need, and you can just repair the aviary, and away you go. Really. So I think it works. This works quite nicely as a little pre-build. The map is almost the same as normal. Yeah, it's all right. Hence why I even suggested smaller vendor stands for smaller maps. Yeah, one of the things I am surprised that we haven't got yet is the original maps. To me, having the original maps... Okay, Prebuilt Layout Challenge. Having the original maps... I mean... If I was developing this game, it seems it's probably one of the first things I would have done. In fact, I would probably do it as a DLC. Just like, I wouldn't make it very... a bit like how the Raptor pack skins were in the first game. I would just do like a... $3.99 or something, and just add 5 of the original game maps into it. And I think people would buy it. I think people would be annoyed it wasn't, base game, but I think people would buy it. I was about to say, what is the point of this pre-build exactly? But that is your pre-build. But that's your pre-build there. And then the rest is... I suppose this pre-build is... It's more of the fact it's pre-landscaped. You've got clear sort of landscaping pre-established here. So if you wanted to do a site B, for example, this is probably the map you'd use, because you could just get rid of these structures and... there's plenty. The landscaping has been done, the texture's been done, the trees have been planted. You wouldn't need to do very much else to make this look like a workable Site B map. It's already pretty done and dusted. Apart from this weird bunch of crap over here. So yeah, Perfect for Site B mode, that one. I would love Sanctuary Island back, but in a much grander scale. Yeah, I think... yeah, I'm not sure what my 5 would definitely be. Isla Sorna would be one. I really liked the Isla Sorna map from the first game. Biosyn Sanctuary doesn't have one. I'll be honest, I don't care about the Mediterranean maps. If they're just the campaign layouts, the campaign was trash. So yeah, I don't care about them. So yeah, map pre-builds. Most of them I think are kind of pointless, but there's definitely a couple that do stand out. Isla Nublar 1993, Isla Sorna. No, so Isla Nublar 1993, Isla Nublar 2015, Arizona and Oregon, if you want like pre-built maps where you can just plonk dinosaurs into something pre-established. And then Isla Sorna Site B and Washington State and California are sort of already pre-established to become Site B parks if you want to have a go at making entirely Site B parks. I think out of all of them, I think the best one is Isla Nublar 2015 because it's basically built. The whole park is built and you can just repair it, plonk dinosaurs into it, and away you go. So yeah, all good. Right, so I suppose we need to move on to looking at the decorations and watching and having a look at these animals actually in the flesh. So I'm going to load into my mod testing map and we'll have a look at these animals in the flesh, as it were. I think it's a bit of a shame that they didn't take the idea of pre-building maps further than what they did. However, having watched them on their streams where they tried to build a park on streams, I think it's really evident that they don't necessarily play the game. I don't know if anyone has seen their live streams where you watch them trying to build a park. They are useless. They are so bad. So I think perhaps it's maybe a good thing they didn't pre-build the whole map. Minecraft Dino Kaiju MDK. Could you make your name any longer? What are your thoughts on the wallpaper theory? Basically, a theory first made due to Frontiers wallpaper that they released before the Aquatic DLC. I mean, it's all lined up. I think everyone was just a bit disappointed that the goat turned out to be just a carnivore pack and not something a bit more substantial in regards to carnivore feeding or something like that. On that note, I personally am down for Smilodon being in the game, but I hate how half the community is not wanting mammals despite Count Cretaceous having Smilodon. Yeah, let me let me give you my thoughts on that. I think that when it comes to to mammals in this game, honestly, I think the Jurassic World aesthetic suits, prehistoric reptiles and prehistoric mammal-like reptiles stuff just better than the mammals. Plus, with Prehistoric Kingdom and Planet Zoo, if you want a park with like tigers and elephants and stuff in, you've got plenty of opportunity. And Prehistoric Kingdom, you're gonna have mammoths, you're gonna have saber-tooths. I think for Jurassic World Evolution, I think it's better for them to focus on non-mammalian animals. Because I also happen to think that when it comes to us as a community, I don't think mammals have the same sort of following as the prehistoric reptiles do. I know that I'm not particularly that interested in most prehistoric mammals. Simply because to me personally, they're just a bit too close to stuff that's normal to this day and age. Like, yes, a woolly mammoth is not an elephant, but it basically is. And while I love Smilodon as an animal, and I love Megatherium and that giant supersized armadillo whose name always Dodecurus, or however you pronounce it. While there's one or two prehistoric mammals that are like really bizarre, a lot of them aren't. And I just think that when it comes to sort of the everything before the Cretaceous mass extinction, there was just so much more variation and weird and random stuff. And I think after the Cretaceous mass extinction, everything gets a bit too modern, current day. Hello, Barger, and see you later, Sammy. Yeah, aside from the teeth, what's the difference? Exactly. So, right. I've actually been trying to think of somewhere that I can plonk down these new decorations for us to have a look at on this mod testing map. So let's start. Let's use this area of ground here. Actually, I have to say, like, this mod testing map, I know it's very simple, but it's one of the few maps I'm really happy with. I just love how everything looks. With all these pre-established little areas, especially over here with the aviary with these nice staff zones and just everything sort of built up and nice. I do like it. Don't worry, Barger. We'll have a look at the new creatures in a sec being released and everything, because I haven't seen them yet. I'm going to have a look at the decorations now, though. So, starting with the banners. So, I'm just going to put them all down to start with. Just trying to make sure they're all in the view of the sun so I can see what's on them properly. And let's switch into capture mode to have a look at these. Okay, so looks like... So we've got 3 different sort of styles, but the picture on them is always the same. So you have one with the viewing log, one with the viewing dome, and one with the aquatic dome. I mean, the artwork on them is very nice. I really like how different it is to the other banners that we have in the park. I find it curious that we haven't seen this style of banner anywhere else. Like, these are obviously just the flagpole ones that we've already had in game, but these rectangular ones, they're completely new. Yeah, I think they're nice. I think that it gives us something to place down, you know, at those particular attractions. And I can also, I can see them being used by mod makers to, you know, change the textures on them to give us more varied banner designs. I could see that being easily a thing. That is all of the banners, and let's have a look in terms of... Oh, okay, so we have a couple of versions of plant pots now for each biome. Let's just plonk down. They're identical, they're identical, they're identical, and there we go. So we've now got some different plant pots. Yeah, okay. I suppose it'll give you something to fill up small areas with. Again, I think it's a shame that we just don't have square planters or anything bigger than that. Fountains. We have 2 of, don't we? So we have our Spino fountain and our biome-specific tree fountain. Is it me or is that tree lopsided? Or is it just the wind? It's potentially just the wind. I was about to say, if they put the tree in lopsided. Yeah, and again, I like, why can't we have the center of this fountain as a decoration? Why can't we have this planter as a planter decoration without the fountain bit? A bit bizarre. But yeah, 2 perfectly decent additions. I do wish that they didn't all have the like same water jet. Like, I wish there was some variation in the style of animation. Yeah, let's go with that. I wish there was some difference in the style of animation they're using for the water jet, like that they weren't all the same. But apart from that, yeah, they're nice. It's good to have some new fountains. Fountains. Da, 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 da. Ah, right, of course, and the all important benches, chairs, and rubbish bins. Oof. Yeah, I have a feeling that they're not going to be usable. I have a feeling people aren't going to sit at them, which again, it always makes the park look a bit bizarre when people don't sit on them. Yeah, nice to have them. About time. I think when it comes to some of these decorations, I think that is something I would say in general. It's like, it's about time we had stuff like this. It's about time we had benches. Like, why has it taken over 2 years for us to get them? Oh, chat is blowing up about this question about the mammals. Let me just let me catch up with what you're saying here. I mean, terror birds would be nice to see. Megalodon, I just have no interest in. Imagine the fountain being used for the free Hammond statue. Missed opportunity. Yeah, definitely. The Hammond statue was such a disappointment. Guests need their own mechanics. Yes, they do. I do agree with you there, Jurassic Tyrant King. If Jurassic Park Operation Genesis could make their guests feel like they were actually important and alive and had their own opinions and their personalities, like, this game must be able to do it. Rugops or Cryptops would have been a better choice than Gigantoraptor in this pack. Gigantoraptor fits better as an omnivore. Yeah, a lot of people have complained about Gigantoraptor being an omnivore and having no hunting animation. And it being in a carnivore pack. It seems like that's kind of annoyed people. I personally don't care that much, but I can see why, because in the description they keep saying that, like, Gigantoraptor could hunt down its prey because it's so fast, basically. But it doesn't have hunting animations in the game. I can understand why people think that's a bit underhanded. Okay, yeah, so no other decorations other than those. Yeah, it's nice to have those decorations. I kind of feel most of them should have been there already. Let's have a look at the animals, shall we? Oh, I see. So, this is this automate bay thing. So, I think this is something they overlooked when they did this automated bay thing. You can't change the color of the cosmetic. So that is a bit of a downside. Kind of removes the point. Right, let's go in the order they were in the trailer. So let's go with Concavinator to begin with. And we are going to randomize skin and pattern. What? Concavinator only comes in a batch of 2. Really? How big is... Hang on, how big is Concavinator? It's not that big as an animal, surely. Oh, okay, there is our Concavenators. Yeah, can someone explain to me why a dinosaur this size only has a maximum batch of 2? What? That makes 0 sense. I'm pretty sure T-Rex you can have a batch of 2. Like, this is Ostroraptor size. This is a batch of 6. What? That makes 0 sense. Maybe a bug. Maybe. I'm a bit annoyed they walked away from each other because I wanted to see their social. Let's force them to be social with one another, shall we? Come on, do your social animation. There we go. One of them has stopped, ready for it. Okay. Oh, So the social animation for the concavenators is one of them decides to be a jerk to the other one. This is okay, I guess. It would be nice to be able to see that again. But I'm guessing they're probably not going to do it. Evidence for my solitary Venetus theory, exactly. Has no laying down thing, has a scratch. But yeah, apart from the batch thing, yeah, alright. Let's grab the next dinosaur, shall we? That would be Utahraptor. Random. See, this comes in a batch of 4. And something else I'm going to do is I'm going to make one Pyroraptor so that we can have a look at... Let's give it a straightforward pattern here. I'm going to make one Pyroraptor so that we can compare the Utah and the Pyroraptor next to each other. Have they just given the Utahraptor the Velociraptor's sound effects? They have! Oh, for God's sake. No. Come on, guys. Really? Okay, that bugs me. Like, because isn't there another? There's another dinosaur. Deinonychus has the same sound effects as Dilophosaurus, doesn't it? Is it Dilo or is it Hera? There's another one. Deinonychus has the same sound effects or very, very similar sound effects to the Dilophosaurus, I think. And no, it does it in this game as well, Barger. When I did my video looking at Deinonychus ages ago, I've heard it. Yeah, why did they not just come? Okay, that's lazy. I'm sorry. It's laziness. I can't defend laziness. Also, I know they're not exactly small raptors, but they kind of thump around a lot, don't they?
You try moving with a tail that big.
Kind of thought they'd be a little lighter on their feet than that. Have we got some that are close together? Because I would quite like to see a social animation. Come here, you. Come here. I want to see socials. There we go. You've stopped. Social can now commence. Oh.
I've seen an issue here.
That was cute.
They are attempting to do Triceratops love.
They are. They're doing Triceratops love.
Wrong dinosaur.
That was cute. Okay, so I'm glad that they don't have the same social animation as the Pyroraptor. because that was one of my criticisms I had at when this was unveiled. I was like, the run looks the same as the Pyroraptors, so I hope they don't steal the rest of the animations. I'm glad they have their own animations. I'm not glad they have the Jurassic Park Velociraptor sound effects. I think that's cheap, frankly. Now, the other thing I wanted to do is to just have a look at these next to a Pyroraptor. Because, obviously, when this patch was... when the trailer came out, I said that basically it was a slightly cosmetically different Pyroraptor. I kind of feel like I need to check if that's the case. Obviously the size difference is really noticeable there. Can I just move you a little closer, Pyro? Thank you. Obviously the size difference is very clear. I still think the Utah is a bit small. I know the statue decoration mod has a person. Where is... There is a person. Yeah, I think Utahraptor is maybe a bit short. So I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be... No, he was laying down. Grumbly, grumbly, bim. Okay, we have to compare it to a Utahraptor that has not decided to lay down. Where's that statue? There's that statue. Come here, running away, man. Oh, yeah, I suppose... It is... Yeah, Utahraptor size estimates is usually just above the height of a human, so yeah, it is the correct size. It just doesn't look very big when compared with the sheer size of, like, literally everything else. Okay, so yeah, the size is correct. But when it comes to... Are they just cosmetically swapped? Obviously not. I mean, the difference between the Pyroraptor's feathers and the head especially... Oh god, the head. You know, clearly there's a lot of difference in terms of the quality of the Utahraptor model and the skin compared to the Pyroraptor. The front arms are still the same pretty much on the Pyro and the Utah. There is a slight difference to the tail. The Pyroraptor tail is more of like a sort of more of a point. It's got more of a sort of a pointed end, whereas the Utahraptor tail, it's kind of more of that. It's more like the Dinocaris tail, like the big sort of rounded spoon, if you will. So again, bit of a difference in the tail. And the head, Pyroraptor, again, it's quite a low quality sort of crest of feathers. With the Utahraptor, it's the same sort of crest, you know, the straight back cone of feathers on the head. It's just there's more feathers there, there's more volume there. It's more better quality compared to the Pyroraptor, even though it's essentially the same sort of thing. And the head, obviously, of the Utahraptor is actually correct, as opposed to Pyroraptor's head being, well, horrific. What are you drinking from? There's no water there to drink from. Why are you drinking? How are you drinking? How are you drinking? There's no water there. I think I think my Utahraptor is broken. It was drinking from land. Anyway, other than Utahraptor being able to turn grass into wine, yeah, clearly me saying that they were just a cosmetic swap of Pyroraptor was probably a little unfair at the time. I do stand by the fact that I think they do the same job. Like, because if you think about what was the point of Pyroraptor in Jurassic World Dominion, it was them bringing in a more realistic depiction of a raptor being feathered. That's the whole reason Pyroraptor was there. You know, we already had a Atrociraptor in the film. They could have just used a Atrociraptor again. They put Pyroraptor in there to give us a more realistic representation of a raptor. That was the point of Pyroraptor in the film. So I do feel that having both of, you know, the Utahraptor and the Pyroraptor, they both kind of do the same job. Utahraptor is obviously just a much better attempt. I think I will still use Pyroraptor. Like, I'm not just gonna use Utahraptor from now on. I think Pyroraptor has generally better skins than the Utahraptor. I think Utahraptor, there are some really nice skins, but you're gonna have to go through them all and look for them. Whereas with the Pyroraptor, I think it's a bit easier to find nice looking skins with it. So I think there's still a reason to use Pyroraptor in your parks. Even if you just wanted to use Pyroraptor as a, you know, Velociraptor. But the social animation is kind of adorable. I will give them that. Let's go and create... Oh, actually, I'm just going to... just before any of these, like... Dinosaurs don't starve. All dinosaurs. Good. Right, let's grab a Tarbosaurus, shall we? And I suppose if we're going to have a Tarbo, I need to make a Rex. So that we can compare them. See, even Tarbosaurus comes in a batch of 2. Let's grab a T-Rex. We just want the one. Right. Let's have a look. That's kind of creepy. The way they just sort of... The way they both sort of like just poke around the side there. Interesting sound effects. At least they're very different. Not... I can see, like, I can definitely get that hint of T-Rex in their sound effects, but they're very much more different to Utahraptor's reuse of Velociraptor. yeah. Do these guys have a social? Let's see. Don't do your social animation in the trees where we can't see it, guys. No, 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 no. Okay, look. If I have to make you do a social, I will. Come here. Come here. Ah, there we go. Oh dear. Okay, so a bit of a bully sort of social, you know, sniffing one. Yeah, it's kind of average, I guess. Is what it is. Hello, Untamable King. Hi, Fletcher, I just joined now. Did you cover the rangers going through the tour gates yet? I'm aware they can do it, but doesn't really matter gameplay-wise to me, so I'm not really focusing on it at the moment. Vastosaurus is less half-assed. They did, yes, I have heard Tylo and Mosasaurus have social animations now. We'll have a look at those in a minute too. Let me get the T-Rex out. I just want to have a look at these two next to each other. Now then, come here, Tarbo. Actually, let's not use you. Where's your other? Where's the other one? There is one, Tarbo. There's the other one. I want to have a look at you side by side with Rexy. That's all I want to do. Okay, so side by side. Difficult to tell which one is the bigger. That's a bit better. Posture is... Ah! Rex, don't do that. Okay, so I suppose there is a bit of a difference in terms of the bulk. Like, Tarbo definitely seems to be a little less bulky than the T-Rex, and I think there is a bit of a size difference. Not much of one. Potentially just enough of one. Yeah, it's a very slight difference. In terms of the heads, again, it's a very slight difference in the crests. Like, Tarbosaurus's crests are much more pronounced compared to Rexy's. You've got a slightly different sort of jawline and teeth. I do think Tarbosaurus's posture is really bad. The tail droop is too low. Also, can you see how that tail is like crooked? It's like he's got like a break in his tail. So that's that needs to be fixed. Yeah, the posture I think is bad. Obviously, you got the spikes running down the body. I'm gonna stand by what I said about the Tarbo. I don't think it's necessary. I think we have plenty of carnivores that do its job potentially better. I think by picking Tarbosaurus, they kind of stuck themselves into the Camp Cretaceous design, and I think there was more that they could have done if they hadn't picked Tarbosaurus but picked something else. I think the Tarbosaurus Camp Cretaceous design is just too similar to a normal T-Rex. I'm gonna stand by that opinion. I don't think you're ever gonna get me to change that perspective. I also do not like its patterns. I have now just decided, I think in terms of the skin pattern, this blotchy, I think it's lazy. I think it's a very lazy attempt to pattern the dinosaur. At least with the T-Rex, and it's very much more noticeable thanks to Glitch's FGM mod. You know, at least with the T-Rex, we've got a genuine attempt to give it crest colors and striping of across the body, but also down the body. The Tarbo, they've just gone, well, let's just splatter patches of color all over it. Yeah. So I don't like the pattern. I don't like the posture, and I think it's not necessarily bringing anything drastically new. And the social animation is not particularly that fun and interesting either, so meh, as far as I'm concerned. I think Tarbo is a bit meh. You would have preferred Tyranotitan or Mape Macrophorax. Yeah, actually, I think it might be a video I make next week, potentially. I might do a video on, like, 5 carnivores I would rather have had than Tarbosaurus or Utahraptor. Maybe having Utahraptor in there is a bit much. Maybe if I do 5 dinosaurs I'd rather have than Tarbosaurus, I think maybe people would be a bit more understanding. Let's not tick off the community too much. Velvet Eclipse, I think Tarbo is fine to fill out the screen roster. I don't. Like, the Camp Cretaceous fans are the only ones I think that are truly bothered about Tarbosaurus. I think the rest of us were happy with the roster that we already had. Gigantoraptor, of course. Right, let's have a look at Gigantoraptor. Random and random. Actually, that's something to look. So, what, 275,000 to do one of those. What's Utahraptors? 360,000. Crikey. Utahraptor's appeal is 317. Sorry, I just realized there was something I wanted to look at. So Utahraptor appeal, base appeal, 317 points. Tarbosaurus, 785. What's T-Rex's? Okay, so Tarbo is about 65% of a T-Rex in terms of appeal. I almost think that's a bit harsh. What's Acro's? Acro is 1,016. Alberto is at 470. What's Karka? Where's Kakaro? Karkar is 930. Okay, so Tarbosaurus's rating puts it level under Kakarodontosaurus, actually. I almost think that's too low for its rating. Honestly, I think Tarbo's should be a bit closer to 1,000 potentially. Yeah, the appeal points are completely whack. That's also entirely true. Utahraptor 317. So that makes it, yeah, quite a bit higher than Velociraptor. Where's Atrociraptor? So it's higher than Atrociraptor. A lot higher than Deinonychus. A lot higher than double Pyroraptor. So Utahraptor, I almost think Utahraptor's appeal is... I almost think the appeal of the other raptors is too low in comparison. I think the raptor ratings should be higher, but Utahraptor being quite a lot higher, it does make a degree of sense. That being said, what other carnivores are sort of a similar size to Utahraptor? Utahraptor is maybe the Australovenator? 142, wow. You know, Utahraptor is not far off the appeal of an Albertosaurus. Wow, okay. And it's above Majungasaurus, which is only a little bit bigger than it. Interesting. Yeah, dinosaur appeal is just totally screwed up in this game. The appeal, the way dinosaur appeal works is rubbish. I think the star system we all came up with on stream would have been a couple of weeks, well, not weeks, months ago now. I think the star system would have worked a lot better. Concavenator, appeal of 451. That makes it higher than Carnotaurus. That makes it higher than Baryonyx. Higher than Krylo. Not as high as Metriacanthosaurus or Megalosaurus. A little bit under Kinjausaurus. Yeah, I think Concavenator's rating is okay. Although that does now mean I think Carnotaurus's rating is way too low. I think Carnotaurus's rating needs to be higher than 300 for sure. Whoever designed the ratings was on like 12 different types of drug. Yes, potentially. Frontier really did the Jurassic World Pteranodon dirty. Its face looks so dried up, and now we have the customizable skins for the JP3 Pteranodon. I don't think I'm ever going to use a Jurassic World Pteranodon ever again. Yeah, I don't think I will ever use it ever again either. And I very rarely use the Pteranodon in general. Gigantoraptor then. 404. Again, I almost feel that that's a bit low. Gigantoraptor is like the size of a T-Rex. It's like the height of a T-Rex. Size has got to play a factor, surely. Gigantoraptor comes in a group of 4. What a weird animal. It has a really weird walk animation. It's got a pigeon. It's a pigeon walk. So weird. It's got a pigeon walk. Oh, this is the social. That's quite nice. They have quite a friendly sort of you know, almost mating dance style social animation, which is quite nice. You sit there. You just sit. But yeah, where is Rexy? Well, let's grab something that's also pretty chunky. Where is our walking one? There. Wow. That just really puts it into perspective how big this Oviraptor is. it's all, it can look a T-Rex in the eye. That's so creepy. I mean, obviously it's not as bulky, but it can look a T-Rex in the eye. What a bizarre animal. I mean, I suppose you could use the actual Oviraptor game to be like literally a baby one of these, because it's going to be so tiny in comparison. It's such a strange animal. The only saving grace of Gigantoraptor is the fact that it's a giant cassowary, which pretty much kicks. Yes, I have seen some of like the hunting animations and the killing animations. Obviously, to me, it doesn't matter because I don't do battle royales. I don't do hunting parks. So whether they have cool looking killing animations isn't as important to me as other people, which is why I never really focus on that in any of the videos I do. Having said that, having seen the kicking animation that this guy has, it is pretty brutal. That run animation though is poor. Fletcher, since you hate fighting, the Gigantoraptor stomps on Predator. Yeah. So we've just spoken about that dino. Imagine if this game was rated M for mature and T-Rex would probably rip the head off in a single bite. Yes. I've always maintained this game is a bit bloodless, same as Jurassic World Evolution 1. I feel like the fact that there's no blood of real any sort in this game does detract a bit. But it is what it is. Universal wanted the product to be accessible to all audiences, obviously, so they cut everything back. How tall is... I think this guy is going to be taller than... The Gigantoraptor's like, oh, there's two of these here. He's taller than the Turbosaurus. Look at that. Interesting. Yeah, so let's leave them to wander around. And let's have a look at the social animations for the Mosasaurus and the Tylosaurus now that they actually have them. Hello, Tylos. It gets hate, but honestly, Gigantoraptor is probably the most interesting theropod JWE could have still added, short of maybe an accurate Spinosaurus. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think out of the 4 of them, I think Gigantoraptor is potentially the most uniquely distinctive. Just because it's so very, very, very different to any other oviraptorid. A defining feature of the oviraptorids is that they're fairly small animals. Even some of the larger ones, like Conchoraptor or Citipalte. But yeah, Gigantoraptor is it's massive. And there must be an evolutionary reason as to that. Potentially a difference in diet, perhaps. Don't know. I might have to go and read up some more about Gigantoraptor just to, you know, fulfill my own interest in the science part. Yes, will you two, you know, line up to do your social, please? There we go. You're getting there. Look at the way they have to move in order to line up for social animations to play. It's, There we go. Okay, a nip of the fin and then a slap of the tail. Is that it? What? Is that literally the whole of the social animation? It nips its fin and gets slapped in the face by the tail.
Unless I've never seen such bullshit before.
Honestly, the current hunting, live feeding, and guest predation feels like a bit of a wasted effort. Yeah. You know, we need a cow feeder, we need a deer feeder, and we need a pig feeder, but we're still stuck with the goats. I mean... I don't necessarily think we need a different feeder for the carnivores. I think what I would like to see is dinosaur enrichment items come to the game. I know that it might be veering too much on Planet Zoo's territory, but I feel like we could do with something to give the dinosaurs more unique animations and enrichment items, stuff that they can, you know, in inverted commas, stuff they can play with. And I don't necessarily mean like toys and stuff, but something else they can interact with that you place inside their enclosure, I think would give us more unique animations. Let's grab Mosasaurus. I have to actually make 2 of these separately. Ba-ba-bum, ba-bum-bum. There's one. And there is number 2. Okay, let's switch to capture camera. Oh, yeah, I suppose I better check the weather changing feature for the capture mode as well. Which we'll have to... stick it on a pre-built map for? You know, you guys are going to have to actually get close to each other to let your social animation play. I'm going to have to fast forward and wait for them to naturally get in position. Yeah, like scratching poles or food zip lines. Food zip lines are a good idea, actually. Because you could just, you know, we've already got the shark feeder. So all you do is you just make a land-based version of that. It wouldn't be particularly difficult, I think, to do. Oh, are they doing it? Are they getting in position to do it? Yes, there we go. Excuse me? The fuck was that? Is that it? Oh, come on. Really? Can you make a video asking to bring this dinosaur to the game, please? Protoceratops. I think I have made plenty of videos asking for Protoceratops already, if I'm honest, Matthias. What the hell was that social? It didn't look like a social. It looked like an accident in slow motion. It just looked like one of them, you know, just kind of bumped the other one. They didn't make any noise. There was no feeling of
There was no
weight to any of that, was there? Can we? I'd actually like to see it again if they could get themselves in position. Come on, you two. Can you please get yourself in place? Oh my god. Why is this guy just stuck at the surface as well? Come on. Drop down. Honestly, they did such a bad job with the lagoon animals. The way they're animated is so poor. And the fact they don't really seem to use the enormous... These lagoons are massive structures, and they don't really seem to use the amount of space they actually have very well. Are you gonna do it again? No, apparently not. All I want to see is this one again. Mosasaurus changes size in the movie. Yeah, so the Mosasaurus size changing throughout all of the films is something I have talked about before. It's just demonstrative of a lack of... Well, not a lack of effort, but just, you know... show over substance. If there is a Jurassic World Evolution 3, I hope the lagoon and the lagoon animals are much better implemented, that's for sure. Are you guys going to do the animation again, please? They really don't want to do it again, do they? I almost think that they're too they're always at the surface, it seems, so the animation can't play. They don't ever get close enough to each other. Oh, are we gonna have it again? Oh, are we gonna do it, guys? No. The fact, come on, please, Mosasaurs, just do your social animation, please. Bloody hell. Yeah, we still don't have a submarine tour, which I think is it's a bit of a shame. I don't think we're ever gonna get a tour for the lagoon. I think at this point they've demonstrated they just don't want to give us one. And it seems like the social animation for the mosasaur is extraordinarily inconsistent. Given they've been really close to each other now for a while, and they just... Oh, hang on. Have we... Yeah, there we go. They've both gotten into position. Oh, dear. Did you see how much they had to shift to get in place to actually allow that to happen? And then it's just like a nudge out the way. Do you know what bugs me about this? Is that they didn't have these animations when they gave the rest of the animals the animations. Like, both the Tylosaurus and the Mosasaurus didn't have social animations when they did it for the rest of them. And now that we actually have them, they're rubbish. So a part of me is wondering why they didn't have them 3 months ago. What exactly was it that stopped these animations being there 3 months ago? Because the animations we do have, they're crap. Very uninspired, and in terms of the Mosasaurus, very badly animated, I have to say. So, yeah, we have the social animations, but I almost kind of wish we don't. Almost kind of wish that we didn't, and they spent more time making good ones. Who shall we let's stick around with Otabo for the time being. I'm just going to catch up with chat. The Nuzzle is kind of cute, but it's just disappointing. Like, did you see how the two Mosasaurus had to actually, like, they basically snapped from one position to the other in order to allow the animation to play? The Mosasaur does that for a lot of its animations, including the jumping to the shark feeder. And it's, it just completely breaks any immersion. Be nice to the concavenators. The motor animation was like two fat blind hippos nudging each other by accident. It's so harsh. But yeah, Glitz, I think you're probably true. I'm glad Concavenator is in the game. I was asking for Concavenator for quite a while, sometime in the beginning of 2023. Okay, yeah, let's do a quick roundup here. Where is Utahraptor? Well, where's a Utahraptor? Let's stick with a Utahraptor for a bit. Let's do a quick roundup. So the new dinosaurs, Concavenator. I'm not a big fan of the model. I still prefer LA Studios', and I'm not a massive fan of the skins. It has some good ones, some not so good ones. Overall, I think it's a pretty average, middle of the range dinosaur. Do I see myself using it very often? No. The problem with Concavenator is I think it's in a difficult niche. There's so many other dinosaurs of a similar size that I think either have better skins or are more interesting. Afrovenator, for example, I think has better skins. In fact, a lot of Afrovenator's skins are very similar to Concavenator's. I think the biggest problem with the Concavenator model is the quills on the arms. That they're just so badly... They don't look like quills, they look like just plastic tubes. Like pipe cleaners stuck to the arms. It would have been nice... They're like the LA Studios model. They're actually, you know, very finely modeled quills. They actually look like quills. They're very fine spikes. Whereas Frontier have given us like solid pieces of concrete rebar sticking out of the Concavenator's head. But for people who are, you know, Concavenator fans, it's good that they can actually have it now. I think if I'm going to have Concavenator, though, I will stick to the LA Studios model. Utahraptor. Probably the one I would mark the highest for its skins, for the quality of its model, for its very cute social animation. Pretty much will, I think, for most people, take the place of Pyroraptor. I don't think many people will use Pyroraptor now that we have Utahraptor. I'm going to be happy to use both. Tarbosaurus. I think the skins are quite bad quality. I think the model, being the Camp Cretaceous model, is too similar to a T-Rex. In fact, there's the TUBBY T-Rex in the background. I think the posture is the biggest problem with the Tarbo. The tail is cracked at the halfway point, and it just has a weird kangaroo posture that I just don't like. But yeah, the biggest problem for the Tarbo for me is that it's just too similar to a T-Rex. Way too similar to a T-Rex. And Gigantoraptor. In fact, there's a Gigantoraptor there. No, there he is. Giganto, again, I think I can see people using Gigantoraptor a lot because it's just so very unique and very different. I do think not all of its skins are great. I think some of the skins are... pattern colors don't necessarily work very well. But on the whole, I think it's quite a good new animal to have. So for me, the top dinosaurs in this update, the DLC, definitely the Gigantoraptor and definitely the Utahraptor. Concavenator, I think, is pretty mid. It's just an average sort of dinosaur now. Tarbosaurus, I think we could have done without it. And the way they've implemented it, I think it's quite poorly implemented. So, just my opinion. The variants of dinosaur. I want to find somewhere to sit that's not quite as noisy. Let's just sit here. There you go. The variants. So the Allosaurus variants. I think the fact we can change the color of the skin is gonna be a big thing. but I think the patterns don't really work too well on it. So that's, again, kind of average for me. Brachiosaurus, though, the Jurassic Park 3 Brachiosaurus, definitely saved by the variations. Really good to have that. Pteranodon from Jurassic Park 3 basically makes the Jurassic World Pteranodon will never be used ever again by anybody. Oh, hello, Congavenator. Yeah, the Jurassic World Pteranodon now can be considered extinct. In the same way that the Dreadnoughtus that Frontier made was made extinct by the Dominion Dreadnoughtus. So yeah, I'm really glad that the Pteranodon is a variant. The Stegosaurus, some of the skins and patterns work, some of them don't. And overall, like, the Stegosaurus for me is just not my favorite Stegosaurid in the game. I think it might be potentially one of the worst, just because I think they still aren't quite representing Stegosaurus in a bloody hell. Did you just see that? He just stuck his head round the corner. Hello? Fucking Gigantoraptors. It's just like, they're so big. Don't mind me. What was I talking about? Right, the Stegosaurus. Yes, the Stegosaurus. Yeah, I think the problem is that there are better Stegosaurs, and I think the Wuerhosaurus has better skins and patterns. So normal Stegosaurus is already pretty low on my list. The variants haven't quite saved it. They've improved it, but I still don't think I'll be using Stegosaurus very often. Hello, Rexy. And yeah, and the Dimorphodon, I don't think anyone uses Dimorphodon. Chat, tell me, when was the last time you used Dimorphodon in one of your parks? I'm curious to see if anyone actually knows the last time they used a Dimorphodon. September 2021. In your Malta build. I think I don't think I have used Dimorphodon since I think it was a challenge mode. I think it was Oregon challenge mode, perhaps. Yeah, I think that. No, I know when it was. It was the Monopoly Park. That was the last time I used a Dimorphodon. Was the Monopoly Park that I made, and that was a long time ago. So yeah, I don't think adding the variant to the Dimorphodon is going to make us or make me use it any more than I normally do. Please, Frontier, give us... What is this guy doing down here? That run animate... What was his problem? Oh, yeah, give us Triceratops, please. Make the Triceratops 93 a variant so that we can change the color of it. Because I vastly prefer the 1993 Triceratops to the Jurassic World Triceratops. But what keeps me back from using it is that I don't like the brown. And Jurassic World Evolution 1 had so much better colors for the Jurassic Park Triceratops. So I would like to see that actually come as a variant. As the Ankylosaurus from Jurassic Park 3, I don't really think there's a need for it because it's not that different to the normal Anky. But you know, if for example they do a Cretaceous herbivore pack, which is what Evo has hypothesized they might do, I could see them using that as an excuse to give the Triceratops and the Jurassic Park 3 Ankylosaurus their variant. And I'd be okay with that. And then I don't think there are any other creatures with variants that that you could use. Perhaps apart from, as Matthew Bendit has just suggested in chat, the 65 million years ago variant of the T-Rex with the feathers along the back. I wouldn't necessarily mind that being a variant so that we could have a large feathered theropod. Because to be honest, that's what I think Tarbosaurus should be. I feel like it would have been cooler to have it as like a fully feathered T-Rex, essentially. And you know, they were buggered by the fact that Camp Cretaceous's Tarbo is so boring in design. So, you know, if they made the 65 million years ago Rex a variant, then we would have a feathered large theropod, which would be nice to have. You know, something distinctive from the other models of T-Rex, and to be fair, the other models of large theropod we have in game. Because they're all kind of a bit similar. I like the 2022 Dimorphodon variant because the Dimorphodon in the Jurassic World movie had feathering on its back, so it's just to make accurate Jurassic World builds. See, for me that doesn't really matter because I don't make builds based on the movies or anything. Look at them roaming around trying to find a weakness in the fence. I'm watching you, Tarbosauruses. Oh, yeah, the Dominion Parasaurolophus is... Yeah, thank you, Ethan. Yeah, the Dominion Parasaurolophus could be another model. Definitely. The Jurassic Park 3 Raptors? I mean, the male one, possibly. I wouldn't mind the Jurassic Park 3 Raptor being a variant with the quills in the back of the head. But I think that is all the variants, isn't it? Maybe potentially, depending on what happens with obviously Camp Cretaceous or their new show, Chaos Theory, maybe more variants will come as a result of that. Who knows? The new so to round up my thoughts about this DLC, the new decorations. Yeah, new decorations are always good. I kind of think that the benches, at least, and the trash cans, the benches, they kind of should have been there from the beginning. And it's taken Frontier 2.5 years to give us a bench. And the guests don't interact with it. Jurassic Park Operation Genesis gave us benches from the start, and the guests sat on them. So unfortunately, Frontier still hasn't, in that regard, anyway, still hasn't done better than a game from the very early 2000s. Which is kind of disappointing, but oh well. It's good to have the benches at last, even if guests won't ever use them. And the new fountains, yeah, it's nice to have the new fountains. I still think that Frontier are missing a trick by giving us large planters, like square planters or round planters. They probably never will. The guests honestly need more quality of life. Since we have the pool chairs, do you think they could somehow make the pools a placeable decoration? Potentially. Oh well, you can't have your bench and sit on it too. Well, I could in Jurassic Park Operation Genesis, Glitzbog. And in fact, I could have my trash can and they would throw things away in it too. And I could have my shop that sold them gifts, and they would walk around the park with the displayable, they would actually walk around the park carrying the gift that they went and they brought. Honestly, I think some people are a little too nice to Frontier at times. There is no reason that in this day and age, guests should not interact with a park bench. Do they? Actually, that is a question. Do the guests in Planet Zoo interact with seating or anything you put in? I haven't seen enough of Planet Zoo to know. I would be curious to see what they do. They do interact. So again, Frontier sorry. But Frontier, why are elements of your other games not in this one? And I suppose this leads into my thoughts about this DLC in general. And the video I did earlier on this week in talking about Frontier's financial problems. While this DLC is probably going to make them money, because it contains species that they're going to, people are going to want. In terms of the long-term survivability of this game, I don't think these species are going to get people back playing the game who have potentially moved on. I don't think people who got bored with Jurassic World Evolution 2 are going to look at this DLC and as a result come back to play the game for a long period of time. And the problem with that is obviously if people aren't playing the game, there's less of an impetus to add and do more DLCs. So if people don't come back to the game and play it, the chances are the game is going to end development quicker. But at the same time, people are not going to come back to a game just because you've got 3 new dinosaurs and a T-Rex with spikes in it. I'm very torn about how to actually rate this DLC, because as something has said, it's the fan favorites pack. So obviously, if you're a fan of the animals they've added, you're going to rate it very highly. I don't have a particular personal interest with any of the species that this one added. I did with the aquatic pack because I love Dunkleosteus. It's one of my favourite of all-time prehistoric animals. So perhaps I was a bit biased with my feelings about that particular DLC. But for this one, I have no particular connection to any of the animals in it. Which makes me even... It makes it even more difficult to rate it. Because I'm like, well, to me, this particular DLC doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't improve... It doesn't give me ideas. It doesn't improve my enjoyment of the product. I think this particular DLC is entirely dependent on if you have a personal interest in these species. If you do, this is going to be an amazing pack for you. If you don't, you're probably just going to look at the animals it added and go, eh. And you're going to go back to your parks and carry on building with not much difference. Frontier needs to focus on more attractions instead of more species. Honestly, it's a no-brainer. See, I agree, Untamable King. The problem is that it's the new species that make the money. I think Frontier have missed a trick by making DLCs that are not just about dinosaurs. This game needs an expansion DLC. Yeah, I mean... We need another DLC that brings in a new building set and new attractions, preferably. Because, and I have said this time and time again to many people, and I'm pretty sure I said it on stream last Sunday, this game is not a dinosaur game. A dinosaur game is like The Isle or Path of Titans, where new dinosaur species are actually kind of necessary because it changes the gameplay of the game. Because you are said dinosaur. So, you know, that's a dinosaur game. Jurassic World Evolution 2 is a zoo tycoon / zoo building game that just so happens to have dinosaurs in it. And if you removed all of the dinosaurs from Jurassic World Evolution 2... Well, actually, no. If you removed the Jurassic World bit from this game and you called it Planet Dinosaur, for example, we would all look at Frontier, Planet Coaster, and Planet Zoo, and then we would look at Planet Dinosaur, and we would go, this is a massive step down. What are they doing? It's a huge step down. It's so much less than Planet Zoo or Planet Coaster ever was. But because it's got the brand name, and this is what I meant in the video I made at the beginning of the week about their financial problems. It's the brand that is making the money here. If this was not a Jurassic Park / Jurassic World game, I don't think they'd be making very much money from this game. Because the limitations are too heavy. You think the limitations are caused by Universal, Matthew? Potentially. Maybe. But I also happen to think that too easily we say that it's Universal's fault. I'm not 100% sure that Universal are as tightly holding onto the reins as people like to maintain. Because primarily, I just don't see them being that bothered. Frontier is not a particularly big game company. It's not like EA or Ubisoft or Epic. Frontier is a small games company in the grand scheme of things. And I just don't think Universal could be asked to have such tight control on the reins. I think Universal, when it comes to Frontier, I think they're happy, like, as long as they're getting their part of the cash, I think Universal probably don't care that much. Yeah, I could be wrong, but because there are problems with this game that are not inherently down to Universal, I don't think. The scientist system, for example, which is an appalling waste of time in this game and is so badly implemented. I don't think Universal went to Frontier and said, "Can you put a scientist system in the game, but can you do it really shittily?" I don't think that's what Universal would do. There are genuine faults with this game that I think are entirely Frontier's fault. The lack of optimization, for example. Yes, we do need new attractions, Untamable King. We need better quality of life. We need performance improvements. If I would be happier with updates looking solely at quality of life and performance updates than necessarily new dinosaurs. I mean, we have so many creatures now. I think it's actually impossible to make an all-species park without the game's AI itself breaking. I think if you try to make an all-species park, the game's engine would break. Might be an interesting experiment for me to try one day. Hot take again, but I think Frontier is just kind of ass at game design. Ooh, Miss Archaeopteryx. Why do you think that? I'm curious. Like, what's your reasoning for that hot take there? Yeah, exactly, Potato Man. Would Universal really object to them having benches and trash cans for 2.5 years? I don't think so. Jurassic World Evolution 3 wouldn't work with the sheer amount of species in Jurassic World Evolution 2. Like, what else can Frontier add to another sequel? Yeah, something raises a good point there. What do you mean 2.5? 5 more like? The longer time goes on, the more I'm feeling like Jurassic World Evolution 1 and Jurassic World Evolution 2 are very much more similar than they are different. And I think Jurassic World Evolution 1 and Jurassic World Evolution 2 have very similar problems. And whether Frontier just ignore the problems or haven't noticed the problems, I don't know. I've not played any non-manager Frontier games, but all 4 manager games are buggy messes that force management systems into really unintuitive places. I have played Elite Dangerous, and I have played their F1 Manager series. Elite Dangerous was completely unintuitive in terms of its control mechanisms. It took me, I think, 25 minutes to figure out how to lower the landing gear of the spaceship I was in. It's a very unintuitive game. Which is a shame, because I think it has a lot of potential. And the Formula 1 Manager games, they do quite a bad job. The artificial intelligence, AI, seems to be a really big weakness for Frontier. Yeah, so I think Miss Archaeopteryx is touching on it. Guest pathing and artificial intelligence in general seems to be Frontier's sort of Achilles heel. Problems with animals getting stuck, for example, or breaking. Guests breaking. In F1 Manager, there were a number of moments where the driving AI was so balked that on one particular circuit, the AI was permanently crashing into the barriers. And there were also examples of where, like, the AI would not overtake the car in front, even though a real-life player probably would have taken the opportunity to go and do the overtake and probably would have made it stick. So I do think artificial intelligence is one area that Frontier really struggles on. Also, animation. I still think many of the dinosaurs are not animated correctly. I mean, let me just quickly go back into Species Viewer. I've seen a new bug with this update where dinos now stand still and tap dance and won't move until you spook them. Lovely. New bugs. That's what we need, isn't it? Right. Yeah, let's go to that Tarbosaurus that they've added today. So the walk animation, let's change the rotation. The walk animation is fine. Hide and slow motion. You know, the body is relatively perpendicular to parallel to the ground. You know, it's a relatively straight line. The head and the tail is a relatively straight line. The tail is shifting in regards to the movement of the rest of the body. You've got plenty of weight in each footprint, so it actually feels like there's mass to the animal. You can actually see the claws kind of bounce when they hit the ground. And you've also got that translates all the way up the leg to the muscles here, and that they actually shake on the footprint, which is accurate. It's nicely animated. The run is awful. This is... And all of the large carnivores run like this, and even a lot of the smaller carnivores run like this. It's so top... Like, the front, he's practically hitting the ground. No animal runs with its face grinding along the ground like this. It's such a lopsided way of running. And you can actually see just how much work the rig, the animation rig itself, you can see how much work is having to go in to actually make it run like this. And how much, you can see here, just how much the leg is having to stretch and stretch all the rest of the model in order to match. And it's actually clipping through. It actually clips through the body to achieve this. Look at that. It's a really poorly made animation for running. I hate how the Theory runs. It looks so unnatural. Let's have a look at the Theory. Well, you say it looks unnatural, but that's pretty... I would say that looks very natural. It's running like an ostrich. You know, the head isn't shifting in excessive amounts. The tail is held back behind the animal for stability. And the legs are doing all of the work here. I think the reason it looks unnatural is because the arms don't move. I think we're so used to when something run, you know, when humans run, our arms tend to move. I think that's the reason why it looks unnatural, is because the arms are just not moving at all. I think if the arms had a little bit more sway and movement to them, it would look better. But overall, I think that run is actually pretty accurate to how I would imagine a real Therizinosaurus would run. Like an ostrich. If you watch an ostrich run, their heads and tail, like the head and the neck, doesn't tend to really move. It's all in the body. And pretty sure all two-legged animals run in the same way. But this weird, contorted, face down, arse up, tail in the air way of running that all the theropods have. It's so ungainly and so unnatural. And what's funny is that it completely destroys why the dinosaurs were successful. The dinosaurs were successful because, unlike other reptiles that had evolved, dinosaurs evolved to bring the legs and the hips under the body so that they were capable of running. That's why animals like Gorgonopsids didn't ever do as well as a dinosaur, because the dinosaur was capable of running on two legs in a very efficient way. This contorted, arse up, head down method of running doesn't look comfortable. It looks like it's permanently on the verge of falling over. It's so disappointing. And it's weird, because I bet if I go to, like, Allura Titan, you're two-legged. Yeah, it's not perfect, but again, Allura Titan, just like an ostrich, the head is relatively still in place. The body is where most of the movement is. The tail should be a little straighter, but it's more accurate, I think. Same with, I bet, the Muttaburrasaurus. Yeah, the Muttaburra, the head is perfectly still. The tail is relatively outstretched and relatively straight. I mean, there's a lot of side-to-side motion there, but it is what it is. But it doesn't look like it's trying to fall over. And I don't understand why. I mean, I think for the acro, it's even worse, because the acro is so chunky. Like, if I just stop it there, look how much he's leaning forwards. He would fall over. I don't legitimately think it could even run like this. I think it would just fall over. The center of gravity is so far forwards. It looks yank when it works, and they do the sideways moonwalk half the time. Oh yeah, Miss Archaeopteryx, I forgot about the moonwalking. Oh god. So yeah, the dinosaur. Look how much he's leaning on this side as well. Yeah. Animation and artificial intelligence. That seems to be where Frontier often fail. It's the weird smooth triangle puppetry. Oh, why? Yes, why are you talking about the reproductive organs of a dinosaur or something? Very peculiar topic that you're talking about. Well, I have talked so much in this stream, I think my voice is about to go.
I've been speaking for 3 hours.
I have been speaking for 3 hours, yeah. But yeah, at least my... Oh, there was that one thing I forgot to do, wasn't there? Right. Before I go... Weather override pending. What does that mean? I actually want to see how this works. So let's... No weather. Okay, so we have no weather. So... Interesting. I thought I turned weather off. Yeah, no weather. It's raining. How can there be no weather? Do you think we'll ever get a T-Rex kingdom? Again, I don't think so, no. Just because I think that would be too much work for them. So light rain, rainstorm, overcast, or default. So that's overcast. And then you have rainstorm. And then light rain. And default. So you can't... Doesn't look like you can make tornadoes and stuff happen. Looks like you're just restricted to cloudy, light rain, or heavy rain, depending on the map that you're on. And obviously, I assume on the Canadian maps and everything else, you'll have snow, etc. Anyway, yes, it is now 10 past 11. I've been talking for 3 hours. My voice is going to go soon. And Yeah, I think I've said everything I want to say about this DLC. It should be interesting to see what happens with the Steam charts, actually. Before I go, let me just have a look, because they will have updated by now for today. Let's see. Steam charts. Today, Jurassic World Evolution 2. So, today, last 30 days. No, let's go with today. So today, the peak players of today has been 2,679. That's been the peak of the players today. Just over 2,500. Curiously enough, that's pretty much the peak of a normal month. Can we do the last 48 hours? That would be a bit more useful. Yeah, so just as an example here, so 6 o'clock yesterday, peak players was 1,876. Same time today, peak players was 2,600. So at the most, and you know, like I say, the peak player base, the peak players for today has not gone higher than the peak player of the last couple of months. So I think what we can interpret from that is the DLC hasn't greatly brought people in or brought people back. No, so Steam doesn't count consoles as well, because obviously it doesn't have access to that information. But just going off the Steam details, it doesn't feel like this DLC has actually legitimately done very much for the player counts. Can you see what the peak from this year was? I can. Let me find out for you. So the peak players for this year so far was back in April 2023. And that the peak players was 6,262. With an average player base for the month per day of 2,699. Interestingly enough, Jurassic World Evolution 2's overall, like, grand total peak has only ever been 17,298. So according to Steam, ever since Jurassic World Evolution 2 launched, they have never had more than that number of concurrent players. Just as an interesting comparison, Jurassic World Evolution 1, its all-time peak is 60,000 players. And interestingly, in the last 30 days, it has still had a peak player count of 600 people playing. So, yeah, Jurassic World Evolution 2 doesn't seem to be quite as popular. Yeah, I'm going to be keeping an eye on the Steam charts for the next few weeks. just to see what happens with the player base and how for how long the higher count stays. But I don't think this is going to lead into quite the jump that the other DLCs did. We shall see. When I do my video comparing them, I think that will be, you know, the when I finally rate the DLCs for this year. The Steam figure for this particular DLC today will be the final component of that. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to head off now for the evening since it's 11:15. Sunday there will be the normal Triclaw stream, and we'll continue with the Isla Sodor Park on Sunday. So yeah, we'll actually do some park building and stuff. So yeah, don't forget to like the video if you have not already done so. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not already done so. I want to thank you all for choosing to, you know, spend some time with me today while I talk and rant and ramble about this DLC. Because I know, you know, people like Eva and that have already done all their videos about it and everything else. They had early access yesterday. So I appreciate you folks coming to hear me talk about it as well. But yeah, until Sunday, wherever you are, enjoy the rest of your evenings, stay safe, and good night.